So I'm going to sit here and talk through as many drawings as I can without going partially more insane than I currently am. Is these here. I was in a lecture once upon a time, right? And I had a university notepad to make notes on. I decided doing drawings on those. Now, in terms of quality of paper, it's quite bad, actually, to be honest. So what I would do with these, I would normally start with a head or something like that. So I probably had, say, maybe about half a dozen or so colors to my name. So they're quite insane, really. Yeah, mostly heads and teeth. I prided myself on drawing constantly, and I would never really stop, and I could do it very quickly. I was very proud of that. This next one is a bit different. Piercing eyes. This one here. And obviously, as you can see, it's not about realism. My idea is, I'm of the opinion that cameras were invented a long time ago, right? Replicate what you see in a lot of ways 1,000 times better than what a person could relay with drawing or painting, right? So for a million years, people had to have Leonardo da Vinci's of the world that was so technically in tune, relay exactly what they saw on the page. They wanted to show what they couldn't, because they couldn't capture it in a picture like we can now. They captured it with a painting or a drawing, but that's not really, in my opinion, what drawing is there for anymore, or painting isn't there for anymore, because not enough people do that anyway to begin with. If we do want those people around, do we really need them to do exactly what our phones can do for free? But you know what I mean. Just a weird looking person. Again, proportions don't have to be, I mean, maybe, some will call it laziness, but I don't really care. Oh, okay, this is the right way up. Again, like I said, I turned them upside down a lot. So this one here, both these two were done in the back of a car. It was a very weird car journey, thinking we were going to get murdered or something. Obviously, we didn't get murdered because I'm right here. Then the other one I like better. It's got a bit of that Roald Dahl vibe that I like. You can start off with something that you actually see. And from there, you can sort of do what you want. Like, obviously, we weren't in the sky, but you can see the clouds, like, right in front of his head. Next one. Yeah, the next one I did quickly. I was watching Mr. Robot. Guy that strangles to death in front of a... Oh, no, he doesn't strangle him to death. He kills his wife. That's what he does. The accident, quote unquote, or whatever. But I really like that one as well. Like, again, you don't have to make something good. It doesn't have to take 17 hours to make something good, right? Case in point, this thing here kind of reminds me of like a flushed away character. Obviously, it's not like an animal. He kind of looks like, if he was given some colour, he could easily be like a weird cucumber guy. Lopside Burger Nips Old Boy is what I labelled there. Lopside Burger Nips. They're kind of not really that lopsided. He kind of looks like a lopsided burger, if you really thought about it. I've always liked stuff coming out of ears and stuff like that. I have like weird souls coming out of ears and stuff like that. And I don't know what all that's about. Next one's another wacky one. We've got this dinosaur man right here. And this is probably just like a sketch that I just came back to it because it was just sat there and I wanted to do something more with it. Balloons, you'll see a lot of balloons in the stuff. I either really like the movie Up or I really want to be in a hot air balloon one day. Bucket list. Another small one. Spiral in the center of the head. It could be like a portal to another place inside your head, inside your brain. It could be you're crazy. And maybe you are. Got one big giant heart in his place where his heart should be, and also lots of other little blue hearts. Is that a sad heart? I don't know, you tell me. This one is, you don't have to, I mean, a lot of the time I do it because I'm bored, because the world is quite boring. Even if you do something that is in comparison with a lot of your other stuff you make so, it doesn't matter. Someone else might like it, doesn't matter, you know what I mean? This is like a combination of a lot of things. I guess I would have started like a head, but it turned into a dinosaur, because people can very easily turn into monsters, as we know. This is one here. This is all oil pastels, so you can see the sheen from that. Clearly drew this from a reference from something. I'm still not exactly sure where I probably got that from. A robot type guy with a big smiley face in the center of his body, sort of like got a bit of a Teletubby vibe going on here. This is one of my favourite ones here. This is a good one. Music notation. Doesn't have to make sense. Most people can't even read music, let alone identify whether it even makes sense. Got some more balloons. We've got a face coming off a balloon. Monster looking character. We've got some devil horns going on. People talk about like art being like a portal to another place, and I definitely think about that a lot before I've made stuff, and during and after, right? They're like, same with songs, like they're places that you go to, their favourite albums, as if they are like places they can go to make themselves feel a certain way. And I guess a lot of my stuff can be really obtuse and out there and a bit crazy, because I guess I want it to be like a escapism thing a lot of the time, I think. This one here is very extreme. Well, it's not very extreme. We've got boats. I guess I've just labelled it playtime because that's probably what it literally felt like, or what it actually was to me. This is a good one. I really like this one. This is the first time watercolours are coming up. Watercolours are really easy. A lot of people make fun of watercolours because it's almost like watercolours is the thing that they give, kids. Make sure they don't cause any mess or whatever. But, watercolours are pretty hardcore. And also I think they just look really nice. You can make them look soft and pastel-y and cutesy. But also at the same time, they can be pretty hardcore. Pretty simple one. This is quite old because this has got it was like an old book about how to teach old people how to use the internet, but the book must have clearly come out in the late 90s, and it had it has Windows XP level web pages on it. So I've just cut some of those out and I stuck them on as a starting point. Got some fairies. They're holding staffs. Pretty cute. Yeah, it doesn't have to be extreme. And this one's got test date 16/1/2023. So I don't know what the test was. Whether the test was maybe it was the first time I was using this sticker of the old web page. I'm not sure. Some kind of test. Whether it failed or not, you tell me. Oh, this is definitely one of my favourite ones as well. This one here. Yeah, it starts off as a collage. I have this tape that I bought, and the tape was it's just like a road, so I could just place it anywhere I want and make a road, right? So I took some yellow card, some boots I made from it, and then I just drew a guy walking on said road. I've got a love heart creature, says reality of the naive. Very obtuse language from me. This one here, pretty self-explanatory. I don't really title stuff most of the time, and sometimes stuff titles itself. Case in point, mess. I don't know whether I was having a messy time in my head, whether my situation was messy. In the eye of the beholder. We got a bird here, famous to myself, bird design. I make some pretty chody looking birds, but I think a lot of the time birds are quite chody. I really like robins, and they have a lot of really nice colours as well. Thought bubbles, I should use those more, to be honest, because they are quite underrated, in my opinion. This is quite a violent one, I guess, with a lot of blood coming out of his mouth and his eye, but he's also got a ghost there chilling with him as well. We are not alone, ghosts are real, if you didn't know that. Oh, okay, this is another spooky one. Kind of getting blown away by the wind, I think, a little bit, and then there's a giant demon-looking thing behind him, giant obelisk-looking dude. This is a really good one in terms of colour. So, I've just drawn some figures there. We've got a cloud, we've got a bird, we've got a guy with a head coming from underneath him, and a cat. Lots of cats. Too many cats, really. But for me, that's not enough. But that's just me. The green, the yellow, the purple crosses. 10 out of 10. Next one. A bit of a chaotic lump with a guy on it. Guy that looks like he's taking a stand. Some love heart creatures with sort of a love heart head. The person taking a stand, I may well have been watching a documentary. Oh, I just had a heart pain. Hey ho. This is a sort of a idea for a painting, but I haven't made it into a painting yet. Guy throwing up a pool of people, or people are drowning and this giant's sick. Possibly. I've clearly had some weird stain on it, but I think it worked out because the stain, blood, sick, whatever, spookier looking, to be honest. Next one is actually quite severe. It may not look like much, but this is actually a vision. Basically, I saw this creature at the top of my stairs once when I was living in a loft. They had a weird scaly skin, as if their whole body had been skin graft. So it was a million different tones and shades of skin on this creature. Lanky looking Voldemort type. No hair anywhere, just a scaly body. Scaly skin, weird body, walking up the stairs slowly. Obviously that's pretty scary to see, and it slowly turned around, and before I could see its face, BAM! It disappeared. That's pretty friggin' scary. For the next few weeks after that, anytime I went into my hallway, I would get really short breath. This one is pretty classical in terms of its composition. Very clear background, foreground and middle ground, which for most of the time for me is actually quite rare. We've got some plants, we've got some flower creatures. None of them really seem that sentient except the one in the front. And the one on the front is crying gold. Climate crisis among us? Yeah, there is. Drink break. Gulp. Honestly, this has probably got to be one of my favourite stacks, and I can already tell it is. I've had 5 praise from myself and other people on this, so rest assured this is going to be a good time. Again, I find it hard to tell which way is up sometimes, whether that's a drawing or literally my own life. Again, maybe that's a bit too much information, but obvious that this is like another place, right? Which way is up, we don't know, and nobody's really got a body, but their heads are moving around. It's like one of those really ugly 2000s. What's that really ugly 2000s animated film where like people are walking around and they don't have heads? Well, they do have heads, but they're just heads. I can't remember. I don't know whether I necessarily needed those stickers in there because they sort of stand out a little bit. The main person in the top right has like a snake tongue. I just like it. And I don't have to explain it. I just like it. This one's quite easy in terms of which way it is up. And I should do stuff more like this more, because this is easily one of my favourite drawings I've ever done. We've got a graph in the top right, emotional progression, and then a thing pointing down, emotional regression. Emotional progression going up and emotional regression going down, like a positive thinking thing going on. We've got some blood splashes. We've got a cat and a dog. 2 cats died, and one of them named Socks. Therefore, there's a sock. This guy's saying smells like risk. At this time, I still had another dog still alive. So there's 2 cats dead now, and there's also 2 dogs that are dead now. So that's grief for you. RIP to those bitches. Broke and bought sunglasses. New pair of sunglasses. It's kind of annoying how many sunglasses I go through, to be honest. But these ones have lasted me quite a while. This is definitely collage heavy. I guess I took like a fashion magazine, probably like a Vogue magazine, cut out half the model, coloured in the rest with whatever I thought up. She looked like she had a weird shaped back, a scoliosis skeleton going on. Hands are funky looking, bony. There's a tiny little foot there as well. I guess that's quite funny. Blue insides. Do not know what that's about, but everything will be alright in the end. It's true. You lived your life for billions of years, and then bam, you were born. And eventually, bam, you will die. And that's fine. And everything will be alright in the end. Unless you're being, like, murdered. But no one wants to be murdered. We've got a bit of an ensemble going on here. Weird looking body. I guess I drew my fingers as well on this one. And there's lots of heads in the line. Yeah, I really like the format of this one. Very, very simple and very playful. That's all I gotta say about that one. If you have an explanation for it, you don't need to really explain it away, ever, really. I think a big thing for me is I'll do things automatically a lot of the time. I'll ask people what they think, go ahead and try and put meaning on it after the fact, right? I don't really need to do that, because other people will do that for me. Do you know what I mean? This one, again, very simple, but I really like the effect of that one. I think I used like a lot of excess paint can spray on this one. It's pinkish, but it kind of looks like blood. I guess people always think that you're drawing yourself if they even slightly resemble you. So as soon as I put a big nose on any drawing, they're like, that's you. If you're drawing a person, then you're clearly doing like a self-portrait. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but I do see where that comes from. This is a very, very old one. This is probably done like 5 years ago. We got a cigarette, 3-headed something going on. And yeah, the head's coming out of the cigarette. Yeah, do what you want, smoke a cigarette. Because life is short. Next stack. These ones are very OTT, but in a good way. Faces everywhere, screaming everywhere, arrows everywhere. Kind of looks like a double helix in some places. Heads coming from heads, nipples emerging in. Emerging in? Yeah, sometimes a drawing can look like a diagram. Sometimes a drawing can look like a wallpaper. On to the next one. Creature emerging from another creature's head. And they are also pregnant, from the looks of it. Teardrop earrings coming from them, also with heads, getting more and more creepy as they go along. This next one is what's called monochromatic. This is a situation where I probably tried to use both my hands at the same time. Drawing. And you do this, and this, and this. And symmetrical. This is another fun one. Loads of circles drawn down. I guess I was drawing the moon. Maybe they were all planets at one point, but then they ended up just turning into windows. And one of them is just a night sky. We got the moon, we got some stars, and a devil-looking guy next to it. Next one, extreme collage heavy again. We got some. So I guess I cut out the model and then cut off their head, put their head where their hand is, and drew a new head on top of that. It could look like a Chanel ad, but it's not necessarily a Chanel ad. I think sometimes I can tell when I've been repetitive and it's boring to me. And sometimes I look back on stuff and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then sometimes I look back on stuff and I'm like, you've drawn that before a million times. Why are you repeating yourself? Do something new. And I think a lot of the time that ended up for me, I drew a lot less figurative stuff of just like starting with a body. And I would start with writing instead, or I would do a bit of drawing and then a bit of writing at the same time. This man, naked and afraid, as you can see, in some kind of fourth dimension. Guy mid-seizure, possibly. Massive ears, clearly got tea stains on it, got a really disgusting folded chin. The front of this person's chin is the side of someone else's head. I don't know who wants to live in that guy's head. Definitely not me. Last one here is monochromatic again, with a lot more heads though. There's a caterpillar shape going on here as well. That's in quite a few of these. That's weird. I don't really care for caterpillars. They look cool. I think the way I've drawn them is not very cool. Bam. This next stack is easily, in a way, my favourite stack of them all. In terms of what I go for most of the time when I'm drawing, definitely did it for me. Okay, yeah, so in terms of what I normally like, what the end result to be, which is I don't want it to look too scattered. I know that might sound ironic depending on what you've seen already. I want it to seem concise, even though I want it to be out there and very obtuse and very what the hell is going on. I still want there to be like a, when you first look, I want there to be like a, oh, okay, cool, clearly defined enough. And I think this one, this stack rides the line of being comprehensible, fun, colourful, and not way too messy. So number one here, easily, is clearly one of my favourite ones. The colours, just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 on the colours. We got funky looking mouths. That is an amazing mouth design. It's not new, but it looks awesome. The dotted lips, the teeth, the yellow inside of the mouth. We got birds going on. We got weird heads. We got devil creatures. We've got long-necked people with weird mouths, weird eyes, just amazing. Weird stuff coming out of ears. Next one, also big fan, big fan, a link. So we've got that weird thing in the background that links towards the top of this guy's head, or the other way around. And the body is scarily complicated enough. We've got weird colours. The colours make sense. It's not like you can see it and it makes sense. To me, it does. Like I said, it all comes together, looking together enough. This one here, big fan, big fan. Sock puppet looking creature coming outside this guy's ear. Pink background and faces quietly in the background of this. And it's sort of like the more you look, the more you'll get out of it kind of deal, which is always quite fun. Next one, very playful, very fun and dark in places too, because this guy, this hairy looking guy, is naked, angry. Not a good combination. No, it's never a good combination. Next one, similar to the monochromatic ones that I was talking about earlier. It's not exactly monochromatic because obviously it's got different colours and different tones, but very similar shades. Purples and pinks and reds. And yeah, the more sort of fourth dimensional things going on, fifth dimensional things going on. You don't know whether they're in a room, they're probably in space, or like I said, they're probably in the fourth dimension. Arrows pointing up, down, left, right, centre. Which way is up? You don't know. I mean, which way really is up in space? We have literally no idea, or at least I don't anyway. These ones here, a bit of a crime scene vibe going on. Head off, hands off. There's two heads cut off here. Both these guys' hands are off, but this guy's head isn't cut off. But they're all bleeding, so they all got something to relate to because they're all dead.